Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets.
Ooh, I like that.
We're diving into some fascinating trends shaping the tech world.
Yeah.
From AI's expanding impact
Right.
to the evolving landscape for startups, and even
It's a lot.
the changing dynamics in crypto regulation.
It's a really exciting time to be following all these developments.
It is, yeah.
And you've given us a lot of great sources to unpack.
Oh, absolutely. And, one thing that jumped out at me is this whole idea that the U.S. tech sector is incredibly resilient,
Oh, yeah.
even amidst all the global uncertainty we're seeing.
It is remarkable, isn't it? The U.S. tech sector is hitting record highs.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of optimism around innovation.
yeah.
But here's what gets interesting.
Okay.
A significant chunk of their revenue, something like 60%, actually comes from overseas markets.
Okay, so that makes them vulnerable, right? If things go south internationally, wouldn't that hit them pretty hard?
That's the challenge they're grappling with.
Yeah.
Geopolitical risks and the potential for market fragmentation could definitely have a big impact. But investors are starting to shift their focus,
Okay.
looking more towards companies that are primarily operating within the U.S. They're calling it
Interesting.
buy, build, sell American.
So kind of like a tech version of buying local.
Exactly.
Less reliance on unpredictable international markets.
And we're seeing real-world examples of this.
Oh, okay.
Look at U.S.-based semiconductor companies and data center infrastructure providers. They're booming, partly because they're well-positioned to weather those global uncertainties.
Makes sense.
We're even seeing investment funds specifically targeting these domestically focused tech firms.
Wow.
It's all about tapping into U.S. innovation while mitigating those geopolitical risks.
Smart move. Speaking of innovation, let's talk about AI.
Okay.
Feels like the conversation is shifting beyond just
Yeah.
those big tech giants we always hear about.
It absolutely is. We're moving past the era of the Magnificent Seven dominating the AI narrative.
Right.
Now we're seeing AI's impact rippling across a much wider range of industries.
So it's not.
It's not just about building the technology anymore. It's
Right.
about applying it in ways that truly transform how things work.
So give us some examples.
Okay.
Where are we seeing AI make a real difference?
Well, think about semiconductors. They're the building blocks for AI, so naturally that sector is booming.
Right.
Then there's cybersecurity, which becomes even more critical as AI systems become more integrated into our lives.
Of course.
And it goes beyond that. We're seeing AI influencing finance, healthcare,
Wow.
you name it.
That is a huge shift.
Yeah.
So what does this mean for people who are interested in investing in tech? Are we talking about a whole new set of opportunities?
Absolutely. As AI becomes more diversified, the opportunities for investors expand as well.
Okay.
We're expecting this trend to continue into 2025, with growth spreading across a much broader spectrum of companies. It's a great time to explore investments beyond those traditional tech giants.
Makes sense. And whenever we talk about tech, we have to talk about startups.
Yeah,
And it seems like the startup world is undergoing its own transformation, right?
there is.
We always hear about those unicorns,
Mhm.
but is chasing $1 billion valuation still the main goal?
That's a great question. It used to be all about becoming a unicorn, but the landscape is definitely changing. The reality is that only about 15% of unicorns are actually profitable, and many of them stay private for over a decade.
Oh, wow.
So the focus is shifting towards something more sustainable, profitable growth.
Okay.
Investors are looking for businesses that can not only grow, but also generate real revenue.
It's not just about getting big.
Right,
It's about building something that lasts.
exactly. And that brings us to another exciting trend, generative AI. This technology is a game changer for startups, allowing them to hit impressive revenue milestones much faster than ever before. There's this company, Jenny AI, that managed to reach $1 million in recurring revenue in just a few weeks.
Wait, weeks.
Yeah.
That's mind-blowing. So is speed the new name of the game in the startup world?
While rapid revenue growth is impressive, it's not the whole story.
Right.
What truly sets successful startups apart is their ability to combine speed with substance.
Okay.
They need to be solving real problems with innovative solutions, not just chasing quick cash.
So it's about being smart and strategic.
Yes.
Not just fast.
Yes.
I like it. But how is this generative AI actually changing things on the ground? Can you give us some real-world examples?
Absolutely. Let's take the legal field, for example. There's this company, Casetext, that's using generative AI to revolutionize legal research. Their AI-powered solution is so effective that they've attracted acquisition interest from none other than Thomson Reuters.
Wow, that's a pretty big endorsement.
Yeah?
Any other examples that showcase the power of this technology?
Definitely. Let's look at healthcare. There's a startup called Parakeet that's using AI to automate tasks like handling calls.
Okay.
This frees up medical professionals to focus on what matters most, patient care.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it seems like AI is moving beyond the hype and into practical applications that actually solve real-world problems.
It really is. And that's what makes this such an exciting time to be following these developments.
Right.
Welcome back to Byte-Sized Tech. When we left off,
Yeah.
we were discussing how the global tech landscape is shifting with players like India and Mexico
Right.
stepping onto the world stage.
Right. And, speaking of shifts, we were also unpacking that whole new era in crypto regulation,
Uh-huh.
especially with that new SEC chair nominee.
It's definitely a development worth watching.
It is.
You're right. There's a lot of cautious optimism, but I'm
Yeah.
curious, what are your thoughts on the potential downsides?
Well, to be honest,
Yeah.
I can see why some people are still a bit wary after that whole back and forth we saw before,
Right.
with the SEC almost seeming antagonistic towards crypto.
I understand that concern.
Yeah.
It's true that the previous approach was often marked by tension and disagreements. But that's exactly what makes this new nominee so intriguing. They seem to be all about collaboration and open dialogue, which could be a game changer.
So instead of those heated hearings and crackdowns,
Right.
we might actually see some productive conversations happening.
That's the hope.
Okay.
And the industry itself has been pretty vocal about wanting clear guidelines,
Right.
not a complete absence of oversight.
Which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to operate in a Wild West environment?
Yeah.
It's got to be better for everyone if there's a level playing field.
Right.
And everyone knows the rules of the game.
Absolutely. And a clear regulatory framework could actually boost innovation by providing that much-needed stability and legitimacy.
Okay, so less uncertainty, more innovation.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that. But where do we even begin? What are the specific areas that need to be addressed first?
Well, stablecoins seem to be a top priority for regulators. They've got that bipartisan support, which is pretty rare these days.
Yeah.
And regulating them seems like a more manageable task compared to tackling the whole market structure beast.
So stablecoins are like the first step,
Yeah.
a way to test the waters and build some momentum before diving into the more complex stuff.
Exactly. Market structure legislation is a whole other ballgame.
Right.
It delves into some really fundamental questions about how we classify crypto assets
Wow.
and which jurisdictions have authority.
Okay.
Those are not easy questions to answer.
It sounds like a lot of work lies ahead, but it feels like we're finally moving in the right direction.
I agree. And if we can get this right,
Yeah.
it could be a defining moment for the crypto world.
Now, before we completely move on from crypto, I did want to touch on something you mentioned earlier.
Okay.
India and Mexico emerging as major players in the global tech scene.
Right.
Why are they suddenly on everyone's radar?
It's all about those global supply chain shifts we've been discussing. Companies are looking to diversify their manufacturing and sourcing, and both India and Mexico are perfectly positioned to benefit.
So they're kind of like the up-and-coming stars of the tech world.
You could say that.
Yeah.
India in particular has become a powerhouse in tech manufacturing, especially in the semiconductor industry.
Wow.
They've got the talent, the infrastructure, and the government support to really make a mark.
So they're not just assembling gadgets anymore.
Right.
They're actually designing and producing the core components.
Exactly.
Wow.
And Mexico is also making big strides, especially with nearshoring becoming more and more appealing to U.S. companies.
Yeah.
They've got that geographic advantage and those strong trade relationships
Right.
that make them a very attractive option.
This is fascinating. It really highlights how interconnected the global tech ecosystem is. A decision made in one part of the world
It is.
can create ripple effects and opportunities in another.
It's a truly dynamic landscape.
It is.
And those who are agile and adaptable are the ones who will thrive.
It seems like adaptability is the name of the game these days, whether you're a tech giant,
Yeah,
a startup, a regulator, or even an entire country.
I couldn't agree more.
Right.
The world is changing faster than ever, and the ability to adapt is crucial for success.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive, from the potential for a more collaborative approach to crypto regulation,
We have.
to the rise of new tech hubs like India and Mexico.
It's exciting to see how these trends are reshaping the global tech landscape.
In Part 3, we'll continue to explore these themes,
Okay,
delving even deeper into the forces driving innovation and disruption.
that sounds good.
But for now, let's take a short break, and we'll be back soon to wrap things up. Welcome back to Byte-Sized Tech. We've covered so much ground already, from AI's expanding impact to the evolving startup landscape and the shifting dynamics in crypto regulation.
It's been a whirlwind tour of the tech world, hasn't it?
It really has. But before we wrap things up, I want to bring it back to our listener for a moment.
Yeah.
You've given us all this incredible information.
Yeah.
What does it all mean for someone who's maybe not a tech expert or a Wall Street investor? How can they connect these trends to their own lives?
That's a great question, and it's something we should all be thinking about. I think the key takeaway here is that technology is no longer confined to Silicon Valley or the financial markets.
Right.
It's impacting every aspect of our lives, from the way we work to the way we access healthcare and even how we interact with each other.
So it's about staying informed and engaged, even if you don't have a degree in computer science or a portfolio full of tech stocks.
Absolutely. These trends are shaping the future, and understanding them can help you make more informed decisions about your career, your finances, and even your everyday life.
Okay.
Think about AI, for example.
Yeah.
It's not just a futuristic concept anymore.
Right.
It's already being used in so many industries, from healthcare to transportation to entertainment.
So it's not about becoming a tech expert overnight, but about recognizing that technology is becoming increasingly intertwined with every aspect of our world.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to stay curious and keep learning. The more you understand about these trends, the better equipped you'll be to navigate the changes that are coming.
It's like having a roadmap for the future, even if the destination isn't always clear.
I like that analogy. We're all on this journey together, and while there might be some bumps along the way, it's an incredibly exciting time to be alive.
Well said. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the forces shaping the future of global markets. From the resilience of the U.S. tech sector to the expanding role of AI, the evolving landscape for startups, the shifting dynamics in crypto regulation, and the rise of new players on the global stage, it's clear that we're living in a time of unprecedented change.
It's a time of both challenges and opportunities, and I'm incredibly optimistic about what the future holds.
Me too. And as always, we want to hear from you, our listeners. As these trends continue to reshape the tech and financial landscape, what opportunities and challenges do you see on the horizon?
Yeah.
Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to continue this conversation.
We always appreciate hearing your perspectives.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.